Hey Wanderers, and welcome back to Outlaws Wanted. Last time, the crew of the Honor found a survivor from the assault of the Black Dreadnaught, Alistair, an old classmate of Malcolm's. After helping all the Galactic Alliance survivors they could, our crew followed a tracker planted on the Black Dreadnaught by Alistair. As always, equal parts brave and foolhardy, the crew dived into an unknown and nightmarish portal through space. And that is where we begin. You all have just pirated your vessel into
Try again. You said we pirated our vessel.
All of you piloted your vessel into a crackling portal, purple swirling kind of unknown miasma. As you fly in, you feel all like rules of reality kind of start to bend and shift away from you as you are like sucked into this swirling vortex of a portal. As you start piloting your way through this, space has just become confused and nightmarish. Immediately upon entering this area, you can start feeling like your thoughts having more relevance in your immediate reality. Faint hallucinations start popping up all around you as you try to hold a course on a blinking tracker way ahead of you in space. So there's two things that I need to know from all of you. The first thing is, under normal circumstances like this, what would you be doing to assist the ship staying on course while piloting through an unknown, terrible vortex of reality? And second of all, given all the buildup around chaos and with like what the galaxy is doing right now, what is your biggest fear while going through these scenarios?
So Mal would be like glued to the helm. He wouldn't be getting up for anything. He'd be making sure our course is true and we're going where we need to go. And his greatest fear in this moment is like he's been through spatial anomalies before, but this is differenter than anything he's ever been through. And with its association with chaos, he's afraid that chaos might somehow get to them in here.
Okay, so as you are piloting the craft, this is not easy. Like normally space, right? You're not getting buffeted by winds. There's not a breeze that you have to be worried about, but somehow while piloting through this not quite space anymore, your ship starts rattling and shaking and bouncing. You can feel this like kind of churning and sucking vortex that's pulling you towards this tracker, trying to throw you out or like buffet you around, or you can lose track of it in different branching tunnels, and you are having to remain perfectly focused while doing this. Make me a weird check.
A weird check?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. All right. If you say so.
This is unfortunately going to bias towards people that have good weird.
I got a 2.
Oh gosh.
I rolled a 3 and I have a -1.
So as you're piloting, you start having more of these thoughts of like, we just chased chaos into probably its own home. It seems likely that we're going to be dealing with that. And as soon as you start having those thoughts, you see like black tendrils starting to attach themselves to like the ship and to like your view through the cockpit, I guess, window. You know, you can see like black slowly starting to grow its way onto the ship. The further you pilot, the more you can start to see it growing on your console, up the joysticks, and onto your hands. Make me a piloting check to see how you do with this.
That is better. That is a 10. I assume I'm not like I'm doing an actual piloting check with the normal piloting.
Yes. Normal
stuff,
pilot.
Right. Okay. Good. 10.
Okay, so even though your view is constricting and it's starting to look like darker and you're having trouble seeing any of the consoles, any of the controls, any of the instruments, you are managing to hold yourself on course and keep flying towards like this one little blinking beacon and all of this chaos. How do you react to this?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I think for Malcolm it's very much he's got a job to do and he's going to do it regardless of what's happening around him.
All right, so basically through the rest of this scene, you feel yourself like gluing to these controls as like what in your eyes is chaos taint slowly wraps around your arms, your hands, up your body, onto your face as you are like consumed with the one goal, which is staying on course despite all odds. So, what's everyone else doing?
Vi probably started up on the bridge.
Okay.
Because we were just going through a portal and she was up there. I think she was up there anyway, but I think she was watching what was out in front of us. As soon as things started feeling weird, I think she tries to get back to the engine room.
Okay.
to try and keep us on course as much as possible.
Okay, so keep the engines running right in this now different and nightmare land. Okay, and what, not necessarily in this moment, but in the whole arc of this story, is your character's greatest fear?
I think that her greatest fear is that very specifically chaos is going to hurt the people closest to her. And that's going to be the crew and her kids.
First of all, roll plus weird.
Nope, that's a 5.
Okay, so you run into the engine room and Marvin is sitting there. You can see that his eyes are black, but that is the only noticeable difference right at the moment.
Is the engine room normal, or is there black tendril things coming out of there
the engine room is normal-ish. Your mind is in the middle of hallucinations. There are nightmares invading your waking life. So yeah, I mean the engine's there and running, but it is through a haze.
I think she is trying to I think if she can still see the engine, she recognizes that there is something weird happening and has enough logical sense to know that her son would not be on board at this moment. And so she just goes straight to the engine and tries to block it out as much as possible.
Cool. So as you run over to the engine and start trying to check levels, maintain control and everything on a dangerous reaction that powers your ship, your son just kind of appears on the top of the engine, his head kind of hanging down and lolling into your field of view, and goes, you left me alone on that planet. So nice of you to make some heroic sacrifice, but I guess family didn't come first in this case.
Vitus keeps banging on the engine. You're not real. You're not real. You're not real.
Oh, you're right.
Real.
I'm not real. Your real son is in danger. And you just left him on a planet. The Black Dreadnaught comes cruising around the galaxy and you just keep gallivanting with pirates.
I think she probably tries to take a swipe at him at that moment.
When you swing, it makes horrible contact. It crunches and thumps into his head, and black ichor starts oozing out of his head and tendriling onto his body, and goes, "Yep, that's about what you would be doing, isn't it? Just leaving me, your granddaughter, your whole family alone on our selective planets." So roll a smarts to try to keep the engine running.
Do I get to add my drill?
You do.
Or my +1 for when fixing and not taking a penalty?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's an 8.
Okay, I just want to pull the curtain back here on the mechanics. Because of you failing your weird check and not getting a epic success that is basically failing this scenario, just so you understand how this is working. As you work more and more, you're frantically trying to balance an engine that is usually second nature to you, but for some reason you're out of sync every step.
I think she's full on crying at this point.
Yeah, and you're trying so desperately to do something that should feel as natural. When you're in a dream and it's oh, I'll just run, and you can't run.
Yeah.
That's what this would be like, but every step of the way, your son's going, this is what you get for abandoning us. This is what you get for caring more about your family here than your family back at home. All of this was your fault, as the engine just slowly backfires and is dying in front of you, which is the slow death of a ship that means you're going to be stranded in this forever. And what does your character do?
I think she just keeps trying. I don't think there's a giving up point. And since I failed so badly, I think that she doesn't have the presence. She doesn't have the presence of mind to realize that she can try to call out to one of the other crew members. And so it's just crying and just trying as hard as she can to keep the engine running or get it back online.
Yep. So similar to Malcolm, this is kind of how you spend this trip, is toiling with an engine that is betraying you for the first time ever. Well, your family, now not just your son, but any family member that feels like you have gone elsewhere, is crowding around you, telling you that it's all your fault. What's everyone else doing?
I
think Sully, if he's not doing research, if we're saying this is a normal situation, I think
You can be, if that's what you want to be doing, it's fine.
Well, the other thing, he'd be at the Science Center either way in this situation, so it doesn't really change where he's at.
Okay.
Either he's trying to, like, optimize, like, plot, like, the GPS, so to speak, for, like, keep them away from, like, threats and anomalies and black holes and that kind of thing, or he's trying to gather as much research as he can about chaos.
Yeah.
Or both. I don't know if they fall into the same thing.
And what is your biggest fear in this whole galactic conflict?
I think for Sully, it's losing Jyla to the chaos, how Grizzle and Rex are.
Okay.
Like, not to death, but just, like, having her just mind completely be corrupted.
That makes sense.
And I think a very close second would be his mind being corrupted.
Oh, okay. I like both of these answers. So roll plus weird.
I got a 12. Pow.
Okay, so for you, this works out differently than for the other two members of the crew. As soon as you started feeling like this pull into this like vortex, you immediately recognized it for what it was. Like, this is kind of a place fueled by nightmare and thought, much in the same way that your like magical abilities are fueled by like a sense of harmony and peace. And given that, you kind of knew what to watch out for in your own mind. So for you, the fear and the hallucinations kind of stayed at the fringe. You could feel in your mind this growing sense of Jyla being corrupted, and especially where you're at, you realize the very practical and real danger of that may be happening. But you are able to maintain a sense of reality through all of this. You don't see, like, you look at the readings from the engine, and for the most part, they are okay. If not, maybe, like, a little bit frantic. Like, if you would normally see it controlled in, like, perfect, like, level. You can see, like, spikes and ebbs in the engine control that's unusual. You can feel Malcolm flying in an almost obsessive and, like, ignorant to the rest of the ship way. Comms are silent from him. But you're able to hold off this sense that your crew is falling to chaos and do your job correctly. So, go ahead and try to learn about chaos.
That'll be a 9.
So, with a mixed success, this is a little bit like staring into a void. As you look harder and harder at what you see around you, it kind of bends your brain. Like mathematical principles that you would have held to be fact, and things about the universe that you know to be true are kind of slipping away just on looking at your sensor controls. Like all of these rules and methods that you know to be true are disappearing, which kind of hurts your brain a little bit, like in a not great way. But for the most part, what you're able to do is feed valuable information on correct guidance to Malcolm just to like barely appear on his heads up display, which is all he seems to be able to focus on right now, to the point where you might be like shouting at him, but it's just nothing. Sorry your scene was lamer. It's better when you fail those rolls.
I think it adds a valuable perspective to like, everyone thinks we're dying, and I'm like, everything looks kind of normal. You guys are being weird.
We're being weird.
It's also very appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, to the point where you can probably like hear crying on the intercom from the engine room and you would have no idea why. It's like, this looks pretty much all right. Like maybe a little weird, but not that weird.
Right, like everything's in acceptable levels, and Giles just sobbing.
Yeah.
Like
we're about to die. Sorry, Vika's sobbing that we're about to die. And I'm like, well, this is awkward.
All right, Jyla.
So I think usually Jyla is floating between Vika and Sully. Like, if they need something done physically with the ship, she's the one running to go do it. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
So if, like, a sensor array is out, she's, like, physically fixing it. And if there's something mechanically wrong with the ship that Vika can't manage from where she's at, then, like, Jyla runs and does that.
Gotcha. You're like a floating person, you know what I mean?
She's floating, yeah.
The gopher.
Literally and figuratively floating.
Oh, do we not have artificial gravity?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Roll plus weird.
So that is a 7.
Okay, so on a mixed success, I guess...
my Jyla's fear would be that Sully is corrupted by chaos, and she knows that he's expecting her to shoot him.
So while you're running around, you get to Sully's console, and when you put your hand on his shoulder to ask if there's anything you can be doing, you turn around and see, like, a black, overly viscous fluid slowly leaking out of his eyes onto his skin.
Sully, talk to me. Sully?
Jyla.
She's like shaking him.
Jyla, I don't feel right.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Chaos, are you listening to me? She's like right in his face, grabbing
we are
him.
Always listening.
And
Jyla.
you listen here, space, and get out. I'm telling you, get out. She's like almost crying and shaking him and like screaming in his face at Chaos.
As you do that, and his mouth opens, like you say, Chaos, get out of him. He literally just like barfs black goo all over you, as it's like now just pouring out of his mouth.
She smacks on the general comms and starts yelling for Vika and Mal.
Vika and Mal, like barely audible and immediately forgotten in your heads. Like, Malcolm, at this point, you've literally become like almost a black cocoon around joysticks. Vika is near catatonic, crying as the engine is dying and her family's berating her. And she hears like the faint whisper of Jyla asking for help.
Yeah, I think Mal hears it, doesn't like process the words, and it's like that whatever that sensor is, it's not important right now, and he turns it off. So Mal now has his comms off.
Okay.
I think Vi can hear Jyla, but she can't stop what's happening. Like, I think from everything that Cody's described, I think that it's too overwhelming to almost even get up off the floor. So I don't think she can come and help right now.
Yeah, so I think Jyla is just like screaming Sully's name, and if there's like goo everywhere, she's like trying to get it off and throw it away.
As you do this, Sully's still just talking to you, but that's doing nothing.
Jyla, I need you to kill me.
No, Sully, I can't do that to you. You know that.
I need you to.
No, you're still talking to me. That means you're still fine. Sully!
At this point, Sully just kind of like slumps on the ground, black goo still pouring out of his mouth.
I think she just kind of like collapses to the floor with him, and I think that she's kind of casting around for like something in this med bay that she thinks will help, but she's not finding anything.
This is a GM question. Do you think that is how Jyla would respond if Sully was infected with chaos in the story? In reality, like not in a nightmare sequence. That is like at the end of the day.
Right, yeah.
Sully requested to be killed if he was tainted with chaos. Do you think at this point Jyla just couldn't do that?
I don't think so.
Okay. I am gonna honor that role playing more than the role. A future thing that is not like your character's gonna die.
Okay.
To the outside observer, your ship is being flown fairly well at this point. All levels are normal. For the most part, the only oddity is Jyla's just like standing in a corner screaming at a wall, and Vika is just in the engine room fighting with an engine that seems to be running fine. The tracking beacon is still far off in the distance, but still able to be seen when the like kind of warping tunnel that you are in drops you out into not exactly open space, but just kind of a hazy field. And all of a sudden, there's kind of like a snap, and like waking up from a dream, all of these hallucinations slowly fade away. And you are all left on your ship.
How are our other passengers?
I didn't even think about that.
We have two very angry people in power armor.
Three.
We have
Not in power.
two in power.
Two of them are in power
Oh
armor.
gosh.
And one who wants to shoot both of them.
I guess what you know right now is Lucy is still in the kitchen and seems to have shut himself off very early on in the thing. Like, that's an option for him, and he took that option.
Okay.
The other two people are missing.
So with his comms still off, Mouse tries to talk on his comms. Is everyone all right? Hello? Anyone? Oh, here it is. He figures out his comms are off, turns his comms on. How's everyone doing back there?
So where is Jyla if she's not actually in the med bay?
I think you would just be like, you would
Just in
have
a hallway
like
or
literally
something?
woken up in the kitchen, just like staring at a wall screaming.
Okay.
Like you weren't anywhere specific on the ship. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just any room, basically. I think she runs to the actual med bay, or wherever she thinks Sully would be.
Everything is fine here, Captain. I got some readings while we were going through that chaos portal. It was a little weird, but you know.
So, did you not, see all the weird stuff that was happening?
What weird stuff?
And I think as he says that, Jyla, runs into the room and just, bear hug tackles him and, grabs his face and is, looking for chaos. And she, kisses him and hugs him and just, as tight as she possibly can hold him.
Jyla, I also have romantic feelings for you, but I don't think this is the time.
Shut up and don't talk to me right now.
Okay. I am very confused, but no, nothing weird.
You're not corrupted. You're not tainted. You're fine, right? No, there's nothing.
Yes, everything is normal.
Because I saw you, and your eyes were black, and there was ooze coming out everywhere, and you were telling me to kill you, and I couldn't do it, Sully.
He hugs her and comforts her,
he's utterly confused, right?
Oh, he's very confused, but he's learned enough from being in a relationship with you to put his confusion aside. And the more important thing right now is someone needs help. We don't need to be, he doesn't need to understand what's happening.
Okay.
Is Jyla crying?
Probably, yeah. Just pretending like she's not, but she is.
As you cry and you bury your face into Sully, when he looks down at you, your face is smeared black at first, as if a few black tears have fallen out of your eyes, and they smear thick grease over your face before normal tears start running through your cheeks, or running down your cheeks.
Ugh.
That doesn't look good.
Do you say that?
In that tone of voice?
We're gonna have to old yeller Jyla.
What's Vika doing?
So Vika kind of comes to, I think she's leaning against the engine and she realizes that it's okay, but she is shaking really hard. And whatever she's holding, whatever she's using to work on the engine, she kind of drops it and just tries to center herself. But I think as soon as she has any kind of her bearings back, she powers off anything that whatever external communication device that she has, she powers off. So she doesn't want to see any emails from her kids. She is feeling very guilty, and she doesn't respond to Mal either. I think she just needs a minute.
Okay.
And then when she finally feels like she can see other people, she leaves the engine room, and I think she tries to get out of the engine room as fast as she can.
So I'll say in that time, after, while Jyla and Sully were hugging it out, Mal is trying to get your attention on the comms, and you said you're not answering.
No, I think if you're bothering her, if you're calling for her constantly.
Well, no, he's not repeatedly. He's gonna try a couple times, and if he can't get you, he's gonna come down to the engine room.
I think that counts as bothering. You know what I mean?
Okay.
In this instance, I think it's it's persistent enough that I think she just kind of takes out her earpiece comm and doesn't put it away or anything, but she just holds it. It's not off. It's she just needs that minute to just be quiet.
Right around the time that Malcolm starts making his way back to the engine room, he would see Vika just snapping the door of the engine room shut. And when you turn and look at Malcolm, your face looks like the crying mascara thing, where you have raccoon eyes. That's kind of what he sees upon first seeing you. Do you wear mascara?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so it looks like mascara running, which is, weird because you did not have mascara on.
Sorry. I don't really know what happened there. And I think at that point she finally starts rubbing her eyes, and I assume she sees the black.
Yeah. Yeah, you would.
Oh gosh. I don't. What's happening?
I can't say I'm honestly sure. Sully didn't seem to be affected by whatever we went through, but seems like we all have had quite the experience. Are you okay?
No. No. I don't know what that was. And and when she sees like the black on her hands, she starts like trying to like wipe it off as fast as she can. Like she doesn't want it on her for obvious reasons.
So it's not impossible to get off. Like as you wipe it, your face, you can feel like maybe like your face is a little bit wet from other tears, and it does eventually wipe away kind of like, you know, like a rather annoying bit of grease, you know, not impossible, but just like a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at this point, saying that she's not doing okay, Mal's gonna try to help like stabilize her. I was gonna ask him, do you need anything? Need me to get you anything?
I don't think so. I really think I just need a minute.
Okay, I'll go check on the others. Let me know if you need anything though.
I will.
And so Mal is gonna go check on Lucy, Marilla, and Alistair.
I think once Jyla has like calmed down a little bit, like Sully will definitely try to get samples of the black tears, like or like whatever residues there. Like
yeah, so like Jyla initially tried really hard to start like wiping it off, and you like had the foresight to be like, no, hang on, like got a swab.
He tries not to be blunt, but is very blunt about being like, hold up, your feelings are important. However, I'm not letting this opportunity pass us by.
Science.
Okay, so Malcolm, you said you were going to look for the rest of the crew. Lucy is in like a like hibernate state that you've seen him been in before. It's basically like charging for his power armor. It locks him in place, and there's probably like an external wake up button you can press if you want to.
It just shoots a shot of adrenaline into him.
Does he seem out of the ordinary?
I mean, like, he looks, his like visor would be down. He's like standing stock still. This is like being in this state means that he can't move. He's like powered down, basically. His power armor is charging and inactive.
Then I think I wouldn't bother him right now.
Okay. There's no one else in the kitchen.
I guess I go look to the cargo bay.
In the cargo bay again, you see nothing.
I get on the comms and ask, has anyone seen Marilla or Alistair? I can't seem to find them anywhere.
Have you checked the officers club?
Is that what we're calling it now? But no, I haven't. I'll go up there.
Okay, you go up there, and Marilla and Alistair are, like, locked in combat. Like, Alistair is climbed up on her back and is ripping wires out of her arm while Marilla is repeatedly punching him in the face and screaming. Like, right when you get up there, she manages to get a hold of him with her no longer, like, her not disabled power armor arm, grabs him by, like, the scruff of his neck and throws him into a couch. And he, like, screams and starts running around behind her to try to continue his assault.
Can I try to stun both of them?
Yeah, you can. I'll say in this case, it's like, you don't really have to roll because they're, like, completely ignorant to what you're doing.
At, like, point blank range.
Yeah, like, you can stun both of them.
I guess we'll have to untangle this later.
Hands on hips, leaves them on the floor.
As they're both just like on the floor next to each other.
You just kind of leave them up there. They've both been stunned. They have some thinking to do.
He's not dealing with that right now.
I gotta imagine sci-fi being stunned is not a pleasant feeling. To me, it just like the image I always get is just like getting hit in the face by like a 2x4, you know? Where you're just like kind of like blinking, like what just happened.
So what's everyone doing? You guys are in kind of a hazy, clouded area. It's just kind of like a vague purple.
I'm gonna get on the comms and explain what I found up there. Just everyone's like, oh, I found them. They were up in the officer's room. They were in the middle of fighting with each other. I didn't want to deal with it, so I just stunned them. But we'll have to deal with that later. I just can't handle that right now. And he heads back up to the bridge.
I think as soon as Vi had her, she was like calm, she went up to the bridge, and what I want to do is see where we are in space.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of what Jyla was thinking too, is like, where the heck are we?
Yep, that's exactly what Mal's wanted to do as well.
Well, Sully's not letting Jyla leave the med bay.
Okay.
So you get up there and start punching into the computer, like trying to get normal tracking information. This would be like as easy as getting on your phone and looking at Google Maps. When you open it, it just says error.
If they look out the window, do they see anything?
You can roll me an investigation check.
Well, I'm not letting Jyla.
Yeah,
leave the
Jyla
med bay.
can't.
Yeah.
I'm rolling, and that is a 10.
Okay, so your sensors that would tell you where you are in the galaxy just report error, but like proximity, like radar and sonar are still bouncing back information.
Sonar in space.
I guess it'd be radar, whatever, LiDAR, doesn't matter, whatever dar.
Spadar.
Nope, Zach, you're off the podcast. You're being replaced with a speak and spell.
Hello, I am Sully.
I didn't hear any difference there.
No, not a fake speak and spell, really. You're like, I'm cutting you out, I'm deleting you off the website. And also the S key is going to be removed from it. Anyways, you scan out into space, and here's the thing. You find stuff. There are floating rock platforms and like level hunks of Earth floating around. They are not in an orbit. They are not round. They do not have gravitational pull. They are of a size that is impossible to be floating without pull in space.
That seems weird. Sully's doing a full full medical checkup on Jyla.
Okay, roll me science.
It'll be a 10.
So Zach, is medical checkup what they're calling it these days?
You put her in the chair that basically does your job for you because this is sci-fi. And as it like scans and whirs, this is kind of like tense. You know what I mean? Like, wow, really hope nothing bad comes out of this sensor as you're just like waiting for it to scan. And as it does, it reports no like anomalies, nothing problematic. Like, I think probably the worst thing is it like gives a detailed roster of scars and burns that would be like associated with Jyla that you're very aware of.
I think he's run full medical checks on everyone before.
Yeah,
like it's a common thing. He's the ship doctor, so it's like you guys have your like missionally physical.
It's like, oh, minor skin infection where that burn was. That's it.
Okay.
Apply anesthetic to this thing that she probably should have been bandaging. You know, just that kind of stuff.
Nothing weird with her tear ducts or anything.
Nope, nothing weird with tear ducts.
Can I also do like space magic medical check?
Yes, you can, but that would be plus weird.
That'll be an 8. So basically he's doing like the like life force feeling.
Okay. So that thing that you have that lets you heal people on a 7 to 9, what does it say?
We'd trade damage.
Right. You reach out with your mind in the way that you would do when you try to heal someone who's been physically injured. And when you do, you can feel like a darkness in her essence. I'm making a face because I don't like that description either, but it's the best way that I can describe it.
Life force?
Yeah, that sounds less gross. Anyways, sorry.
Aura?
Now it's coming back around to gross again. Doesn't matter. And right as you try to like touch that with your mind, like this could almost be similar to how it feels when you find an injury. You just feel a similar presence growing in yourself.
Is it gone from her then?
No.
Neat.
Oh gosh, I don't like this.
Don't like this either.
All right, I let her go.
So Sully doesn't say anything.
Nope.
Okay.
I like this.
From Sully's perspective, his girlfriend just had an emotional breakdown because she thought she would have to kill him and couldn't do it. And then he just felt like he got infected by chaos. So he's like, this will not make things better.
I will say, like, other than just like the trauma of going through this thing, like Sully, you would feel basically normal. Like even now, you don't feel weird really. Everyone else, like you probably feel like a little tender around the edges, but you don't hear voices in your head. You don't want to like bite each other's necks out yet or anything like that.
Yet.
So I think when Mal and Jyla come up to the bridge, Vi points out the oddities of planetary, non-planetary bodies that are out there.
Well, those don't seem possible.
No. And not to mention, none of the scanners or maps can figure out where we are.
Well, I hate to say it, but we've seen a lot of impossible things today, so my brain can't process more impossible things. They just are. And that's all I can say to that. Like, look, now there's rocks. Well, Gritch, I mean, I saw a lot of things I didn't think could happen today, and these don't make the list.
Is our tracker still following that dreadnought?
Yes, it is. You look at the tracker, like it's basically a point on the horizon if you imagine it, right? Like you can see nothing, there is nothing other than there are floating rocks or like platforms around you. And just like so you understand like scale size, like these would be significantly larger than your ship, but not planet sized. They're like asteroid sized.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know how, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, they're not enormous, but they're not tiny. The point on the horizon that you are like targeting towards, it would read a distance and has been this whole time that you've been following it, is totally stationary. The distance to target is not changing at all.
It looks like it's stopped. Should we venture closer?
Yes, but before we do that, I want to check something. I want to call Homestead and see if they can track our lowjacker.
Oh, cool. So you try to make a call to Homestead. Nothing happens.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Sorry, that's a really good idea. I hate those moments of the GM just being like, and then nothing for your really good plan.
No, but that does answer other questions.
No, I think that was a valuable piece of information still.
Like we're totally cut off, like not just internally in the place that we are, but from wherever we were.
Yeah, as soon as we can't contact Homestead, Vi turns to everyone else. I mean, I'm sure we all kind of knew it, but we're stranded out here right now. We're alone. Like we're not going to be able to call Homestead and bring in backup.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. I guess do we venture forward and try to find that Black Dreadnaught?
That's what we came here for. I say we shoot for it.
I don't think we have much other option either way.
You fire up the engines and start, burning at a normal speed towards the Black Dreadnaught. You can see the kind of dense purplish haze around you moving around your ship, and the distance to the tracker does not change.
So we're not getting closer.
Nope.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Can we like quickly speed up and then slow down and see if we can tell if it's like matching, if it's like speeding up when we speed up and slowing down when we slow down, so it's always the same distance? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so
I want to catch it in between, like if we do you know what I mean, catch it off guard in the change of speed.
Okay, so like if you are looking at the speed of something and it's the speed of a car to 15 decimal points, if you were fully stopped, the decimal points would be moving at some point.
Yeah, they would it'd just be, even if it's noise in the system.
Yeah.
There would be some movement on those numbers.
That is how good your like range sensor is.
Okay.
You do a bunch of complicated burns and the number does not change to the nth decimal point. It is staying exactly the same.
Okay.
I guess what the number's not 0, is it?
No, it's not 0. No, it's it was whatever distance it was when you entered the portal.
Okay.
It's that.
Can I real quick, either through sensors or literally just going back and looking, see if the portal is still there?
The portal is still there, but seems to be dormant. Looks like a closed door now instead of an open one.
Okay.
Do we see any more of those portals anywhere?
That was going to be my question.
No.
Can we open like hailing frequency?
Do we want to do that?
I don't know if we want to do that.
You can.
Because do we know if they knew we followed them into this thing?
You don't know that.
Okay.
We were trying to stay hidden, but doesn't mean we were successful.
Okay, scratch the hailing thing. We're not going to do that. That's a bad idea.
So, seems that at least conventional travel in this, wherever we are, doesn't seem to be working. Do we dare try our phased antimatter drive?
Sure.
I mean, at this point, I think we may as well try whatever we have.
Can I try to reach out? I don't know. Like, I want to do like space magic stuff because this is like the antithesis. So I don't know if like I can do any space magic that would be like effective.
Oh, yeah. You can definitely try.
Because I just didn't know, because like a lot of my space magic is like very healing based. So I'm like, well, healing a spaceship doesn't really move us forward.
Do you have a special skill for like sensing life forms far away? Could you maybe use that?
In the playbook, there is just a move called Do Something Weird.
Well, I'm going to do something weird then.
go for it.
That'll be a 12.
Hey, great. So like I said, your harmony, the description is you are harmony made manifest. There is a better solution to the current conflict and you instigate it. So you open your mind to the stellar forces that allow you to do some magic, and it is the best it has ever felt. This is the equivalent of walking outside on a beautiful, not too hot, sunny day with a nice breeze of mental space magic. Right where you are feels incredible. And as you reach out with your mind, like, not only do you feel great here, you have like a place that feels great. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like you're being drawn to a point.
Well, I will go to that point.
Great. So what that is, you know how I talked about those floating rocks in space? And I like said a bunch of details about the size of them and where they are and that they seemed magically impossible to exist. You're guided towards those floating rocks.
We hope you enjoyed this latest episode of Outlaws Wanted. Music for the show is from danosongs.com, audionautics.com, zapsplat.com, and the public domain. If you liked this show, you can check out more of our actual plays at the Wandering Gamer Network's website or Podbean, as well as interact with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We also post Let's Plays on YouTube under the channel Wandering Gamer Network, and on Twitch we can be found at wandering_gamer_network. You can also find us on YouTube under the channel Wandering Gamer Network, and on Twitch we can be found at wandering_gamer_network. Now remember, it's not the outlaw that makes trouble. It's trouble that makes the outlaw.